Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for the finale of the Legend of Spyro series review. Previously, our hero did well to contain his No, not this time, you bastard! We're not doing this again! Our hero did well to contain his frustration towards this series. But now I'm fucking pissed, mate. You would be too if you had to deal with this shit. Now get out of here. I've got games to review, and I don't have time for this. But where will I go? Whatever slimy cunt you crawled out of. Well, I never. Yeah, I'm a real asshat. Now fuck off. Oh no, get out! We don't have time for this, man. I've got 5 fucking games to review, and like old bag of dicks was just trying to say, I'm not in the fucking mood to deal with this shit. I'm sick of holding it in as to not upset the children. But in case you couldn't tell, these games do things to you. They destroy the brain. I think it's safe to say that I've got a little mad trying to do these games. You know, my nuts and bolts have been scattered all over the place and I'm waiting for the Lombax to pick them up. And things aren't going to get any better until I'm done with these games. So without further ado, I present to you The Legend of Spyro: A New Beginning on Game Boy Advance. Obviously, all of the games we'll be talking about today share the same stories as their console counterparts, so I don't need to go over that again. Thank God. I will say though, the cutscene images for this game look really nice. You can't even tell I'm actually playing this on an emulator. And just like the game minus David Spade, we get essays of tutorials that continuously pop up, immediately ruining the game experience. The colour palette is also faithfully recreated with some of the most washed out and hideous colours known to mankind. It's certainly a bad thing when everything just sort of blends together and I can't see enemies 2 pixels in front of my own face. Any good game would add an outline to the sprites so that they stand out from the background, like an old cartoon. But nope, not in the budget apparently, so I'm constantly running into people. The game wastes little time running us through the main plot points. I've only been playing for maybe a minute or 2 and I'm already doing the first breath tutorial with Ignitus and flying to the next level. Ah, don't you love it when ports are identical to their original versions? Everything down to the impossible difficulty is here. I'm kidding, this game is easy as shit. But what do I expect? It's a mediocre clone of a mediocre game. It's as dumb and monotonous as ever. Killing enemies isn't even challenging or worth the time, so I find myself just running past everything. And even when I'm forced to fight people, I can just use my Fury attack to destroy them all, getting enough purple gems to fill the bar back up, ready to use again. What is that all about? Unlimited Fury attacks? Then why even try? And of course, the breath abilities are just as worthless as the console version. I actually made it to the first boss in what's probably a record-breaking time, because I must be the first person to play this game this far. Can I just say really quickly, fuck this boss! This is some of the worst shit in video game history. Look at how long it takes to destroy this guy. 15 minutes this took me, for one guy, who literally has one single pattern without change. What a fucking joke. New Beginning on Game Boy Advance gets 2 out of 10. Now let's upgrade to the Nintendo Dual Screen to check out the same game on some newer hardware, before I completely lose my mind. Because holy shit, we're already starting to get there. The game uses pre-rendered cutscenes from the console game and yet still fails to use the dialogue from it too. I don't get that. I've played DS games with full voiceovers, so why is it that some games just don't bother? It's not like they didn't already have the voice clips. Maybe they didn't have the room because of all the Shadow Legacy they crammed in here. Jesus, it's the exact same game. Although, there are a few differences that set it apart. The screen is further zoomed out so I can't see what I'm doing, there is somehow less music than before, which is really saying something, and the screens have been switched. Instead of looking at the top screen, we have to play on the bottom. But why? Just to dumb down the gameplay even further by allowing me to just swat the screen with my stylus pen to kill stuff, as well as allowing us to do these bland mirror puzzles. Okay, so I'm guessing they realised that their game had nothing to it and it was utter shit. And they wanted something to, you know, try and save it. So they probably held a meeting in some fancy boardroom and their vice president of video game development had an idea and... You know what? I'm giving this company too much credit. Oh, I know what happened. So they were holding a meeting in the car park of a McDonald's somewhere when some homeless man walked up to clean the mirrors on their car. One of the game developers said, "Yes! Mirror puzzles!" They all clapped and went back to their parents' basements. Yeah, that's what happened. Seriously, these things are lifeless as hell. I thought I'd seen Uninspired, but oh no, I'm only just starting to understand it apparently. But as much as I hate to admit it, I have to give this game some credit. They took the open world engine of Shadow Legacy and turned it into a linear game, which is something, I guess. They also made the breath abilities actually stronger than the regular beat-em-up shit, which has been one of my main complaints the entire series. It also explains which enemies are damaged easiest by what, so there is technically more strategy here than we've previously seen. So, good job guys. What is strange though is that there is no flying section. I'll be honest, I was quite disappointed it was missing. With all of that said though, the game is still shit. It's a Frankenstein of some of the worst Spyro games in existence, so it was always doomed to fail. And I'm sorry, but not even your shit Crash Bandicoot Easter egg can save it. New Beginning on Nintendo DS gets 3 out of 10. It's just as bad as the Game Boy version, but while arguably less fun to play, it is technically better. I think my heart just gave out. Anyway, the ball is rolling now. Down a pit into fucking hell, of course, but it's still something. We're starting to get somewhere. Now it's time to see where Eternal Night on Game Boy Advance can take us. Wow, this looks really promising actually. While the still images are in black and white, the game also features some very basic cutscenes and the game itself looks so much better than before. The presentation here is really good. The backgrounds and levels actually have a lot of detail and the sprites stand out, so I'm not running into everything. Well, I'm doing my best not to. I hate when games are too zoomed out, but this game is too zoomed in for my liking. Things show up without any Game Boy Advanced warning. This game is another beat-em-up side-scroller, except this time, you're actually required to defeat more enemies to continue, which can be frustrating even with some of the improvements. Spyro's attacks are much more effective here, and he has some new abilities like the wall jump. With all of that though, it's not any more fun unfortunately. Because the camera is zoomed in and the levels are much more detailed, I find that it can be really hard to try and navigate. I actually gave up not too far in because I couldn't find my way to the second boss. Enemies respawning doesn't help that. And the boss that I did fight was so fucking worthless that I was taking notes about the game while I was fighting him. I wish there was more to say about this, but there really isn't. It's just a visual and audio uphaul over the first game. I really mean that. This game looks fucking great. Of all the games I thought I'd be commending for having beautiful lighting and pixel art, I didn't think it would be this. The original soundtrack is also fucking heaven. I am so sick to death of hearing the same music from all of these. Eternal Night on Game Boy Advance gets 3 out of 10. I do think this is okay, but it's still not much. As the reviews continued, Square-Eyed Jack didn't know that what he was about to stumble across would change everything. Get the fuck out! The Legend of Spyro The Eternal Night was the game most of you guys tried to warn me was the worst in the trilogy, but I found it quite the opposite actually, mainly due to the story in that game. Did you know that there was supposed to be a movie based on the Legend of Spyro trilogy? That would have been really cool in my opinion. As I've said countless times during these videos, the story is the only reason to play through these games, so a movie adaptation would have been great. But they cancelled it. Great! Anyway, it's time to check out Eternal Night on Nintendo DS. Much like its pixelated younger brother, this polygon beast is already impressing me with its presentation. Wow, that draw distance. Okay, I'm being a dick. This game is quite good actually. The first part of the game really doesn't do it any justice. Wide open spaces with low draw distance and nothing going on, but as we continue further, the levels actually get much better. While they're all based off of locations from Eternal Night, everything is totally original, even adding in new areas. The platforming is fine, it's fun killing things, and just wow, I'm kind of shocked honestly. This game is the Spyro equivalent to Crash of the Titans on DS, a port that is actually better than the console version it's based off of. Yeah, I said it. The graphics are kind of funky because it's a DS game, but in saying that, I think it looks fine. Well, the environments do. Don't look anyone directly in the eyes or they'll turn you to stone. The combat is fine, nothing special really, and after playing for a while, it does get old, but it's what you'd expect. We get a map screen so we can see where things are within the level. Maybe purple wasn't the best choice for some of the maps, but oh well, they're not all like that. Most importantly though, it feels like a Spyro game. Well, no, it feels like what a Spyro game on DS should feel like. The levels have a clear focus on progressing through them, which is good. Things like the mirror puzzles are back, and while they're still out of place, at least they don't look like some shitty Flash game you'll find online. You're also required to find mirrors out in the levels before you can attempt some of these. They're not hard to find at all, but it's still something. You even have the option to play a puzzle mode outside of the main story, a good feature for a portable game. We unlock breath abilities as we go along after we defeat one of the Dragon Elders. This is really weird. In the console version, they're all at the temple and Spyro passes out and learns stuff. While he still passes out here, there is no tutorial and just a boss. This boss is pretty shit. Ignoring the fact that I got stuck on him, he just takes forever to kill. Just waiting for him to become vulnerable, attack for minimal effect, and repeat for the next 10 minutes. This game is nothing special, but considering what it could have been, this is good. It broke the mold of having to copy the console games and tried to do its own thing that's a little more genuine to the Spyro character. It's repetitive but faithful. Eternal Night on DS gets 4 out of 10. It's okay. Except for this boss. Fucking impossible, I swear. Okay, we have one final game to get through today. Hopefully, we can end this thing on a high note. That last game has proven that good things can come from this terrible, terrible disease of a video game series. Let's hope this is the same situation.
Even in the darkest of times, there is always hope.
God, I hope that's the emulator. Interesting. Okay, so this game is a side-scroller apparently. We can switch between Spyro and Cinder, so let's start. Well, I'm literally just running around being stopped every 5 seconds to be told how to play. That's how you start a masterpiece. Okay, an enemy, finally. And I'm already sick to death of the combat. Interesting. Oh, come on. How did I not make that? Wow, the jumping in this game is very fussy. You have to be precise with your button presses. Jump again at the top of your jump has never been so true. Hang on, I've run out of my breath ability apparently. Oh wait, so these bars are backwards? Instead of showing me how much health or breath I have for the character I'm playing as, to, you know, avoid death, instead they show me how much the stored character has, meaning I have to constantly switch to make sure I'm not about to die, which is only going to get me killed. Interesting. So this level goes on and fucking on until we get a cutscene that looks like it was drawn by some random Spyro fan. And now we get to more walking in this same level. It isn't too long before we're thrusted into this flying section where we need to avoid shit and shoot shit back at people. It's just sort of dumb, and it's only made worse by the health bar thing I mentioned before. I don't know when I'm about to die because some back-ass dickhead designed it backwards. At the end of this is a boss, and honestly, this is as far as I got. I can't kill this thing before it kills me, and why would I want to? To play more of this abomination of a fuck? It's just too shit with too many tutorials and it's just fucking terrible. Dawn of the Dragon on DS gets 1 out of 10. I can't handle these fucking games anymore. The Legend of Spyro is fucking done. Kill me. This fucking series, man. It's just... There's nothing! There's nothing here! How the fuck did I do 3 videos on these 3 terrible games and have 5 shit spin-offs? There's nothing. There's nothing. I feel so incomplete. My brain is everywhere. It's killed me. It's fucking just... It's drained me of everything that I am. You know, and then that's it. That's Spyro done. All the Spyro games are done. There's no more Spyro. No Spyro for anyone. Until 10,000 at least. Are we gonna get there? Are we ever gonna get there? And when we do, am I gonna be able to do it? You know, these games made me doubt my ability to review stuff. Am I even worthy? I'm not worthy. I can't do this. I can't do this. These games destroyed me! And now I'm gonna destroy them. All this anger that's built up inside me the last few weeks. These fucking games. The legend of Spyro. I will inflict 1,000 years of suffering on you and the entire universe!